This is the premier teacher of Advaita in the world, and this is what this is what's there. So, as long as it's kept purely that, its appeal is to a lot fewer people. Now, when you mix it with how to live your life, how to manage your relationships, how to have good sex, how to be happy, how to do this, how to do that, how to meditate, how to be in the now, how to be there, how to be here, then you can broaden the application to it, and many more people will come. But when it's focused purely on this question of who is authoring, what is it that is actually at play in the world, what is it that makes you do what you do? What are you at bottom? What is the essence of your very nature? When you're involved in these kinds of examinations and questions, the audience and the appeal is always quite small.
But still, there's a recognition in this time of YouTube and internet. A lot of young folks they feel there's a truth or something.
Yes.
So
yes.
Could you call it a recognition which can be explained, or if you want to put a word on it?
I would say that always there is, the YouTube and the internet, of course, makes the teaching available quite readily. And so it's accessible to whoever might have some interest. And that has changed things a lot. Mm-hmm. What I call the false sense of authorship, which is this sense that human beings get at the age of 2.5, which is the point at which human beings start to suffer. At 2.5, the sense, I am a authoring entity, meaning I can make things happen from my own body, mind, mechanism. I am the source of things. That sense that develops at the age of 2.5 has to work itself out. And for most people, even when they start to get a glimpse of a spiritual awakening, a spiritual opening, that they have some kind of insight, some kind, be it through drugs, or through meditation, or through yoga, or through talking, whatever, they get a glimpse of it, and an interest is kindled. As long as this false sense of authorship is present, it will want to know what it can do. What can I do to reach it, to make it happen? And there's a lot to do. There's all of these teachings and meditations and methodologies and processes to do, yeah, and which have their impact and their effect, all of them. So when you're young, particularly, the attraction, and there's a lot of energy also.
You want to learn stuff.
You want to learn, you want to do, you want to be there, and you want to develop community around it, and all of that. And it's there in those things. And so most young people get, I'm not going to say siphoned off, but I'll say siphoned off, get siphoned off into all of those pursuits. And then you work through them over the years. My observation of the people who generally get to me are older. They've done the meditations, they've been to the teachers, they've been to India, they've been to the ashrams, they've done it, got the t-shirts, done it again. And now have exhausted the doing.
They give up.
The giving up happens.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The giving up happens not because they've come to some conclusion. It's just they're exhausted. There's just like, I can't get it up to do another retreat. I can't get it up to do another, sitting session. I just can't, and So the fact is that they've extracted all of it. There's a lot of juice in that stuff. There's a lot to be learned. There's a lot of insight to be gained. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to feel and experience. But you can only get so much out of that. And then there may be the opening to go the other way, which is to go from getting more power, spiritual power via these things, to true powerlessness, to surrender, saying, okay, maybe I can't get it. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe there's something else happening here. At a real fundamental level, not just a mental conclusion, but just physically, I've given it my all. And now, here I am. And it's that level of receptivity that I find the most exciting when people come to me.
Yeah. Would you say that spiritual search is the same search with getting a lot of women, earning a lot of money, thinking I have to have a bigger house, bigger car?
Sure.
The same mechanism?
Yes. There was a old yogi, quite a character, Chongyam Trungpa, as I recall. I may have mispronounced it. But he wrote a wonderful book called Overcoming Spiritual Materialism, I believe. And it was a very interesting premise, because what he was basically saying was that most of us approach spirituality in the same way that we approach the world, which to acquire something, to get spiritual understanding, and to get really spiritual power. Because what you come to a point where you realize that you can't control things. I mean, you try and control them, and you can't. So the conclusion is, well, if I can't, but God or consciousness or source is controlling everything, what I need to do is align myself with the power. Then with my brains and God's power, we can really do something. You see?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, then that's a very strong motivation for trying to get this spiritual thing.
Yeah. I got the whole cabinet at home with all the books, the DVDs, and I never look at them again. But yeah, it seems that what you say, getting stuff, getting knowledge about this.
So what I'm saying is that is often the first step in the process. That most people can't circumvent that. Some can. So what I'm saying is they can't go around it. They have to go through it in order to get beyond it. Yeah. And of course, some never get out of it at all. But that activity of spiritual materialism is a very normal and usual stage in the process.
Of course, because when you grow up and you want to be a good soccer player, you have to practice a lot.
Right.
After years of practice, you'll be a good one.
Yes.
And now you think, I've got to be enlightened. What should I do?
Yes.
It's a really normal question for a human being to ask.
That's right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Then you are there to tell them it's the other way around.
Would you say the message gets smaller and smaller, or the message disappears? Because you get a lot of practice. Watch your breath, stay in the moment, visualize the secret, stuff like that. And then suddenly the message is, "This is it." That's nothing you can think about.
Right. Well, I'm not really interested personally in a message at all of this. That this is it. Surrender. Be here now. Accept. I'm not interested in delivering a message as much as inviting people to look for themselves.